Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Sunset Safari. You won't believe me, but I heard of about 25 elephants just dissolved into those bushes. Can you believe it? I can, because the animals sometimes don't like the camera as much as I do. Good afternoon, my name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me today is Craig, aka Batman, and I've been told to cue my sparkling personality this afternoon, so that's what you shall be getting. For those of you who have never watched Safari Live before, welcome, and also sorry. No, I'm just teasing, because, well, when there are no animals around, we can get a little bit silly at times, so bring on your personalities, your senses of humor, your sassiness. We want it all. And if you'd like to share some of that humor, sassiness, or whatever else it may be, you can hashtag Safari. But things, hopefully we'll be able to find another herd of elephants. They came out onto the road so perfectly, and as Rebecca, who's directing today, went 2 minutes before show starts, 2 minutes, they went, oh, okay, cool, cue, and then off they went and disappeared. But maybe we'll bump into them a little bit later. Let's hope they turn south so we can meet them at about maybe 5 o'clock, 5:15, perhaps, for an afternoon swim. Who knows? So that's the plan. Tristan's also out on drive. He's going to Chitwa, and, well, I'm going to send you across to Brent so he can tell you what he'll be doing for the afternoon.
Welcome to a swelteringly sweaty sunset safari here on Juma Private Game Reserve. My name is Brent Leo Smith. I have Dangerous Dave, the dimpled dish, on camera with me today. And Dave was also on bushwalk with me this morning, and we are heading back into that area. We're going to have another squiz for Tundi. We're going to see if we can maybe spot the Avocas while it's got hot. Those male lions might have headed down towards the Buffelshoek Dam for a drink. Now remember, this is 100% live and interactive, and if you want to get hold of us, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, and or just pop your question on whichever feed you might be watching. So I'm zooting along the northern boundary, nice big road, so I can go a little bit quicker to get me as fast as possible into the area I want to work this afternoon. And it is, as I said, it's quite muggy, humid and hot. Didn't quite reach the 36 degrees that was predicted. Oh. Don't fly, don't fly, don't fly. Got them, Davy? Straight through the gap. Wait, there we go. There's some. Oh, darn it! White crowned helmet shrikes. The seven sisters, normally in little flocks of sevens. Fascinating little insectivores that we do see quite often, but they weren't hanging around today. Joy would like to know when she's going to get a view of Dave's dimples. I will definitely fix a view of Dave's dimples today at some point, Joy. So you're going to have to watch. You not know where it's going to come. His dimples are there. They're very dimply at the moment. Dave actually looks like he's starting to blush as well. So while Dave blushes and I contemplate the best way to get his dimples on camera, let's go across to Tristan to say good afternoon. Well, we did have a bird that was sitting there that we were hopefully going to show all of you. There was a red-billed buffalo weaver that was busy messing around on the termite mound, but it flew away. And so now it is gone, and you are just left with me. Anyway, as Brent mentioned, my name is Tristan. On camera today I've got Sebastian. There we go. There's the thumb as per normal. And I'm glad that you got to see the dimples of Brent, and I hope Dave also smiled for all of you, because old Dave has always got the dimples out, and I know lots of the ladies love Dave's dimples, which is very, very good. Good. Now the plan is for this afternoon is that we are going to be heading down to Chitwa, so we're going to be going that way and try and see if we can pick up a leopard somewhere. I have a sneaky suspicion that maybe Hosanna went that side and is somewhere behind the dam wall, so I'm going to try and head that way. Also, it's quite a warm, muggy afternoon, and so there should be a lot of things happening around the dam itself, so that's why we're going to go down that way. Hopefully we'll be successful. I think it's a good plan in the long run, and hopefully it will pay off for us, because I need a little spotted action in my life. It's been a full
sort of 48 hours since I've seen a leopard, and that means that I need to go and have a little look for one and see if I can find them. Now, Joshua, you want to know if there's any updates on the Styx Pride? Last tracks I heard this morning, which I don't know if they were found, was going north into Torchwood, and then they kind of went along Gowrie Main a little bit, but apparently north into Torchwood. So that's the last update I got. They might have gone anywhere from there, maybe even down back towards Chitwa, so it might be worth checking around the Chitwa area, and hopefully we might get it right. So that's the kind of idea. Anyways, we'll head in that direction. Funny enough, I actually got a good update about the Avoca males. We're talking about the Avoca males, and Brent was obviously going to go past that area, but I just spoke to somebody that works where the Avoca males come from. So apparently they come from an area in the Timbavati, as you guessed it, which is the Avoca farm, but they actually have been hanging around a lot in a place called Makani, which is a lodge up in the north there. And that lodge, they were telling me about the Pride, and apparently the Pride was over 20 at one point, and they then kind of moved, have sort of broken apart, and there's now only 15 of them in the Pride. But these boys that we're seeing, there's two different groups. So there's the two Avoca males down in the south of the Sabi Sands, the one that is responsible for killing the killing the Southern Pride lioness, and then there's these three boys that we've got here. Now, I asked when they were born, and I was told that they're born in July 2013, which makes these males much older than I thought. I thought they were around 4, but apparently they're around 5 years old, so a lot older than we thought, and they've come from quite a long way away. Apparently they've been incredibly good on the hunting side of things, but all three of those males were already starting to hunt at a 1.5 years old, so very similar to the age of that lioness that we saw yesterday, and you saw how small she was. And one of them apparently pulled down a fully grown female buffalo already at 2, so it's pretty incredible, and they seem like they're pretty good with buffalo, much like the Birminghams were. So those males that originate from the Timbavati area seem to be individuals that really do well when it comes to these males and towards these kind of areas, and buffalo in particular. So they've moved in the right direction. Now, Katja, you're asking, are any cubs in danger with these Avoca males? Most certainly, yes. Every single cub that we see here. So the Torchwood Pride cubs, the Nkuhuma Pride cubs, the Stick Pride cubs, they're all in danger from these Avoca males. If they assert themselves here, they undoubtedly will kill all of them. So even the sub-adults from the Nkuhuma Pride, they might be able to get away with it, but they are still theoretically in danger because those sub-adults are not yet adults and are not yet mating. And so every single one of the young lions that we see at the moment theoretically could be in danger should the Birminghams not arrive back here. I wholeheartedly expect the Birminghams to come back. I don't think the Birminghams are going to just leave this area and not come back in the next few days. I'm pretty sure they're going to come here, and if they come here and they smell this and hear what's going on, they are not going to be in a good mood at all, and I'm pretty sure those Avoca boys are going to get chased quite quickly. So it's going to be interesting just to see how it all plays out, but it's a very similar situation that I've seen in this northern Sabi Sands play out a few times now, from the Mapogos to Majingalans to Matimbas to the Birminghams. So, it's the kind of same situation. They all come from this northern area, and then they kind of push through, and they end up going further south into the Sabi Sands, get to the Sand River in those areas, and they start to then dominate around there. So it's interesting how it's kind of unfolding and how it's playing out at the moment, and I would imagine that we're going to see a very interesting story kind of play out. The thing is, though, the Birminghams, of course, could just come in here tomorrow and just absolutely chase them, and that would be the last we ever see of the Avocas. But I somehow don't think so. I have this feeling the Birminghams are going to have a struggle with these guys. There's buffalo here, there's females here, and so those three boys are going to want to try and establish themselves at some point and try and set up a territory somewhere around here. Right, now I'm going to carry on towards Chitwa. While I do that, let's send you across to Taylor McCurdy and find out what she thinks about all the drama that's going on in the tawny cat world.
Terrifying. I'm anxious just thinking about it. Obviously, I suppose it's normal, but it was quite sudden, and I bet Brent kind of feels the same, being ambushed by this change up of cats from leopards to lions. Obviously, we've been away for quite some time. And, well, I can only speak for myself. I was just starting to get into the drama of the triangle lions. And then all this is going on. As Craig always does. Do you still do that noise, Craig? Normally when it could be for anything dramatic, or, is it normally for dramatic effect, hey, Craig? Anything, says Craig. He'd do this, he'd go... done with a head shake as well. So that's Craig's thing. I do the yaw and shoo, and we've had this conversation already. We won't go into it again. So yes, we're on a fire break now. I thought because Hosanna and Tamba, wherever those beautiful leopards may be, they like to move around during the day. So I thought, well, we better do a little mini boundary patrol just to see if any of their footprints come into the reserve. But actually, I lied. I didn't. I made a mistake. I turned down a road that I wasn't supposed to, and then it led me somewhere else. I'm actually trying to get to Treehouse Dam. So we're going via today, but then also checking to see if there's any leopards that have come into the property. There's quite a few clouds that have come over, and the temperature's definitely changed. It's got a lot cooler in the last 15, 20 minutes. So I wonder if any of the big cats are going to take advantage of this. I'm hoping, though, that we will catch somebody on the move. Maybe we'll get Hukumuri. Maybe he's around. I don't actually know where he is at the moment. But we will try. So we'll get to Treehouse Dam, see what's happening there. If there's any elephants, if there's any new leopard tracks, perhaps there's a flock of guinea fowls waiting for us, who knows? And then we will decide where we'll go to next. Craig can choose the next dam. Craig? You get a lot of responsibility today, Craig. I hope you're ready for it. But yes, otherwise a very quiet afternoon to start off with. Maybe some kudu, some nice kudu bulls, perhaps. That's how we could start the drive. I'm also looking for birds, insects, anything that wants to show themselves. Oh my goodness. Oh, Brent's in trouble today. He's been teasing everybody all afternoon, and well, Craig's already pranked him once today. We'll chat about that a little bit. Let's go across to Brent, who's somehow looking at David's dimples.
Oh no, not just yet. Not just yet will we be looking at David's dimples. We're looking at one of the Avoca boys lying just across our boundary in Buffelshoek. Now Tristan and I have been trying to get as much information as possible as we can on these guys. So according to the information we've got, they're about just under 5 years old. I don't think so. I mean, I've been looking at them. Maybe, but sure. They are 5 years old. They're 5-year-old punks. I mean, they don't. You'd expect a bit more of a mane at 5. Although we only have really seen them lying down. They come from a very big pride, apparently, a pride of over 20 individuals. Benoli's wondering, why are the Birmingham boys not spending more time here? Well, Benoli, they're busy chasing new females down south around the Sand River, and most lions that move through the Sabi Sands will come from the north. Tend to seem to do that. They come down, and then they take over the north, and then eventually settle in the center or the west. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm not saying the Birminghams aren't coming back, but yesterday they were over 20 kilometers away, which is a heck of a long way from where we are now. So they haven't moved much at all. I mean, I think Dave and I were almost standing in this exact position when we were on bushwalk this morning looking at them. It's quite hot. I see. I think they might have pulled some of the buffalo carcass they stole down into the drainage here. Paulie's wondering what happened to his mane. Paulie, it just hasn't grown yet. He's young. That's all. He just hasn't grown a big mane yet. We did see one of the other males walk past a little bit earlier. I'm just going to go forward a little bit, see if we can get a view of him. So, just walked past the front of the other one as we arrived and went somewhere behind that little termite mound. Let's see if we can get a view from over here. No, it is a wall of green. Let's try a little bit higher. There we go, there we go. They're the other two. Say when, Dave? I think back was a bit better. Okay, let's just go. Let's try a little bit further forward. There. So there's the other two. I can just see them through the thicket. Hello, boy. So there's two of them actually lying there. We can only see one clearly. The other one was to the left or to the right? It was to the left. Sorry, I mean to the right, Dave. Sorry. We were on the left one. Behind that bush there somewhere. Here we go. So, someone was asking if they've been roaring. Yes, they have. And scent marking, not that we've seen, but from the people, from the people who've been seeing them regularly in Buffalo's Hook, yes, to both of those. They have been roaring and scent marking. So, I don't know, they don't look nearly 5 to me. There's the other one, see there to the right. Every time the wind blows, we get a slight view. I was hoping they might have moved down to come have a drink inside Juma, but alas, not yet. Oh, I can smell them. Even at that distance. Or it's probably the buffalo carcass I'm smelling. Okay, well, I don't think they're going to get up to too much, and we've got some tracking to do. We're going to go see if we can catch up with Madam Tandy, and hopefully maybe later on those lions will come down towards Buffalo's Hook Dam. Now I'm just trying to decide which way to go. Let's go this way, just in case there might be some ellies down towards Buffalo's Hook. This is where we saw Fang's herd enter from the north this morning. So they might be still hanging around this area. Romit is wondering, at what age do lion coalitions normally try to claim territory? It is normally at around 5 years old, Romit. It all depends. Sometimes bigger coalitions of 6 or 7 males might try a little bit younger, but normally between 4 and 5, but generally closer to the 5-year-old side is when they will start trying to claim territory. Okay. Hold on, Dave. Bumpety bumpety. Now, some storms building to the south and to the west. I don't think they're going to get to us, though, unfortunately. Now, I wonder... And there's lots of vultures spread out here, but those are all from the kill that's in Buffalo's Hook. But there's only so many convenient trees to sit on. Well, I don't think it's going to rain. I'm not sure what Taylor thinks, so let's go find out.
I do not think I'm going to have to put a plastic bag over my head today, Brent. I agree with you. Look, we found an animal. Hallelujah. Hi, kudu. Please don't run away. Please don't. There's 2 kudu, in fact. 3 kudu. There's a few of them. There's a herd of kudu. Let's just go with that. And they were intently looking on the other side of the road. Not alarming, not doing that deep bark, but they seem to be worried about something. And I can also hear some birds alarming. I wonder if we shouldn't drive in there. My brain is now working. The hamster is running on the wheel very quickly. These kudu definitely seem to be looking at something, especially this last kudu. I'm trying to see if there's any more. No. And they're not hanging around now. You should walk into frame. They're coming slowly. But they're definitely moving away from this area. So I wonder what those birds are shouting at. I can hear drongos. I can hear testiculars. Craig, let's go for a drive. You can all just come with me. I'm not going to walk in. Let me just reverse a little bit because I also don't feel like turning around. Are we ready, Craig? Let's go. Meow. It could also be for a snake. That's the other thing. Could be a bird of prey. It's always a hard one when birds alarm because they have so many predators. A little caracal would be nice. Maybe a serval. What's going on in here? Oh, I've got to get myself upright. Did you hear that stick scrape against the car? I almost died. I didn't know what I thought it was. Okay, here the birds are alarming. Where are they? And they're bouncing on the buffalo thorn on the other side. Very unhappy about something. Maybe there's a snake. Let's quickly stop and have a little look and listen on this buffalo thorn. There's a chugra. Is it a chugra? I think it's a chugra up top right. It's bouncing. If you go up a little bit higher. There we go. Very unhappy. Where are you shouting? Have you got the snake? There is a snake. Well spotted, Craig. There is a snakey. Look at that. Go, Craig, go. That's so cool. Look at that. It looks like a boomslang if I'm just looking very quickly. What do you think, Craig? Looks like one. It doesn't look like it's actually even an... is it an adult just yet? You see, the reason why I'm saying I don't think it's an adult is, remember I showed you a picture. No. It's got quite a dark black stripe on it. No, that is... Come on, move your head away from the leaf is blocking it. They've got fairly large eyes. Big green eyes. And I know the juveniles are more grey in colour and they tend to have a bit of orange on the throat. Yep, there we go. Juvenile boomslang, everybody. Very cool. I'm glad we drove in here to try and figure out what on earth was going on. That's very cool. Remember, I showed you an epic picture just the other day. Now, have a little listen to the birds as they start to shout. Look at that chugra inspecting it. You better be careful. Very careful, birdie. You're getting far too close. And they will do that. They'll get really, really close and then try and just peck at the snake, as also like we see birds mobbing other birds. They'll mob snakes too and peck at them and annoy them in the hope that they will just move away. But I reckon that the snake is going to sit still now and just keep watching where those birds bounce around. And you can see that chugra, that brown crown chugra, has got a very sharp hook on the end of its bill. So it needs to be careful, because if it were to peck at that snake, it could quite easily open it up slightly. Very cool. Very, very, very cool to see that. Exceptionally amazing. We were lucky. This is the second boomslang I've seen. First one being a big adult. And now this one, and this one being a juvenile. I will try and reposition at some point as well. See, Nick, you're wondering which birds typically hunt snakes? Well, I've seen, now I'm just trying to think who have I actually seen eating a bird. Boomslangs is one of them. I've also seen puff adders eating guinea fowls and things like that. I've seen rock pythons eating birds, African rock pythons. Craig, any ones in particular you've seen? Maybe a mamba, a green mamba that spends quite a bit of time in the tree, typically going after chicks. Even a black mamba would eat the youngsters. And Craig, you love snakes. Craig's actually, one of his favorite things, in fact, is snakes. I'm trying to think who else really feeds on... Maybe a tree snake if it was quick enough to grab one, but I mean, not tree snake, sorry, I meant to say a spotted bush snake. Look at that. Look at it's puffed itself up. Now you can see the orange on the throat that I was telling you about that you typically see with the juvenile boomslang. It's very unhappy. So kind of like how a chameleon blows its throat up to say, hey, get away from me, or to try and make itself look big and scary. That's exactly what this boomslang is doing to the chugger right now. And like we were talking about, even if a snake were to strike at the bird, it really needs to bite down hard and almost chew in order to get an effective amount of venom out, because they are back-fanged. So their fangs aren't situated at the front of their mouth. That's so cool. Craig, do you want me to go a little bit further forward? We can totally do that. Let's do that. I'll go in here. And then we can have nice close-ups. Sherry, you've said, is it rare to see a snake here? No, not necessarily. It's just hard to find them. So we see a lot of evidence of snakes. The snakes crossing this road, so their tracks. We see their skin often after they've shed it. Can you still see it, Craig? Let me go to... Oh, I can see it. I can try and point to you. Yeah, in there. Somewhere. So it's just really, really tough to find them. I'm just trying to find it. I can see it with my eyes. Let me try again, Craig. Is it a little bit further to the right? I'm just trying to gauge. Sure, it's there somewhere. Maybe there? No, I think you might be on it. I can totally see the snake. Not here. All right. Oh, there we go, Craig. I've got it. Okay, well, I've got the snake in frame, and I'll point it out to Craig in 2 seconds. Off you go across to Tristan. He's whipped out his mobile. I wonder what he wants to show you.
Well, good luck, Taylor. I hope that you find your snake. I'm not sure what snake it is, but hopefully your snake makes another appearance. As you can see, we have found, well, what I was looking for, which is leopard tracks. And so these tracks don't look that great. They're not from right now, but today we've had a lot of wind that's been blowing about. So I think that they might be from this morning. Maybe some of the tracks that Taylor was following early this morning. So maybe Hosana or Tingana that have walked in this area, and so they seem as though they've gone through maybe during the course of the early hours of this morning, or not early hours this morning, maybe around drive time. And the thing about them is that the reason why I say that they're probably from that time is because there's one or two little things on top, but also the amount of wind damage to these tracks is quite extensive. There's a lot of sand that's kind of blown off the edges onto the track itself, and we know it's been very windy during the course of today, and so that's probably why. But I want to follow these tracks anyway, because these could lead me towards Treehouse Dam and then or Shabamu Pans. And I know that Hosana used to love those areas, and so it could very well be him taking a little sort of walk towards that section. So I want to just try and kind of keep up. Now, at first I thought it might be the lioness tracks from yesterday, that young lioness that was moving around, but they're very small. These are typical of a male leopard. They're not anywhere near the same size as that lioness. Even though she's so young, she still has bigger feet than what even our big male leopards have got. So we'll keep following these. I'm pretty sure that sorry, I don't know why I said she, might cut up here. This marula tree that I've got on my right-hand side is a marula tree where I've seen Hosana's scent mark on, and from here he cuts straight north to Treehouse Dam. So I'm just going to check around here, and while I do that, let's send you back across to Taylor, who's managed to find her snake again, and hopefully it will continue.
We did find it. It was there the entire time, just dangling from the branch. And of course, against the white sky, it was quite difficult to see, because it kind of just looks like a twig. Now, the birds have moved off. I'm sure that the snake is very excited by that. It's cool how it's got the little dots on it too. I think it may have eaten something. What do you think, Trey? It looks quite fat. Sort of there. You see? That part of its body is expanded a lot more. I think that it might have eaten something. Maybe not anything too big. I'm trying to find my binoculars so I can have a look as well. I think I can maybe see better with my binoculars and give it a bash. I've got to find focus now. I think it has. Maybe it's eaten something like maybe a lizard, especially a young boomslang like this. It's going to be taking anything that it can find. A mouse of sorts. There's plenty of little rodents and things around at the moment. Maybe even a bird. Now, Coast Cider, you're wondering if any of the snakes in Africa make noises. Well, the one that comes to mind is the puff adder. When a puff adder gets exceptionally angry, it makes a interesting puffing noise. Craig, can you make the puffing noise of a puff adder? Come on, try. Yes, you can. Don't be shy. No one will judge you.
I'll leave it up to you.
Too much. I can't make the sound of a puff adder. Perhaps we can ask Brent and Tristan at some point, but I'm sure Brent will be up for that. But yes, they do make a sound. It's like a puffing, hissing type of noise. They get quite upset. But the puff adders are sort of in the viper family. So when you look at them, they're a little bit like a diamond back rattlesnake with a very triangular sort of head and then short, stout bodies. But they don't have a rattle at the end of their tail, but they've got those very dramatic markings on their backs too. I'm so happy that we got a snake. This is so interesting. I didn't think we were going to come out and see one today. I mean, like I said, the birds alarm for so many different things out here. We were really lucky. Now, Snakey, I would move if I were you. I'd rather go and sit lower down on the trunks of the tree than stay up top there. But it's small. It's maybe only just bigger than the length of a ruler. It's not quite big just yet. It can get a bit bigger than that. Craig, what's the biggest boomslang you've ever seen?
I don't know. Maybe just over, like around a meter or so.
Around about a meter, says Craig. We pulled a big one out once when I was guiding down in the Eastern Cape of South Africa at a lodge called River Lodge. And we had thatched roofs. So you can imagine, birds absolutely love to nest in there. And wormslangs, being specialists at climbing trees or just climbing things in general, they would go up into the thatched roofs and they'd eat the chicks. I mean, it's obviously quite easy for a lot of different snakes to raid birds' nests rather than actually physically catching a bird that's, say, perched on a tree. So they tend to do that quite a lot. Anyways, and we constantly have to remove these snakes from the roof and from the thatch. And there was one that must have been just over 1.5 meters, maybe about 1.4 meters. It was exceptionally large. I thought it was quite a big boomslang. But I have heard stories of boomslangs reaching just shy of 2 meters. But I have not seen one that big just yet. Very cool, though. Joy, you're wondering if there are any little hatchlings, how many hatchlings they have in one go. I don't actually know how many would be in one sort of clutch. I'm trying to think, maybe I'm just going to guess here, between 15 and 30, somewhere around there. They typically have quite a few. And you're wondering, could there be more nearby? I don't think so. This one actually looks older than the snake that's just newly hatched. I've seen newly hatched boomslangs before. They are, I'm trying to think how big they must have been. They must have been only about 10 to 15 centimeters, maybe a bit more than that, maybe 15 to 20 centimeters. Also, somewhere around there. So I think this one is a little bit too big. I think it's been around for a few months at least. I'm actually not sure how quickly the boomslangs will grow. I think it also depends on how much they need to eat. And, well, we can chat more about that in a little bit. We'll just talk about general snake habits. But we'll sit here for a little bit longer and see where the snake goes. But Brent has now got his eyes focused on the ground.
There we go. Tundi's tracks on top of our bushwalk tracks. Sneaky, sneaky Tundi. Okay, so she's heading down to south. I'm pretty sure the cub is stashed where we thought it was stashed this morning. So she's heading that way. So we're going to do the same. Check Njala Road south. Hopefully we get some luck. So I'm just keeping my eye on the track, seeing where they leave. Well, Dave's going to help me because they're on his side of the road. Well, that's quite dangerous though, letting Dave look for tracks. Hey, Davey. We'll just we will just leave Dave to operate camera and have dimples. Okay. So it looks like she's gone straight into the block here towards Njala Road South. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so we're going to loop back around and then cut down here, and hopefully her tracks come out on the road, Njala Road South. If they don't, I'll come back to last tracks and have a stroll into the bush, see if we have any luck that way. Now, it's actually quite pleasant now, even though it is a bit muggy. The temperature's dropped with a cloud cover, so and come back here. Lots of elephants were around here, so I think she probably heard the elephants and then went that way. So even though it is quite muggy, it's quite pleasant. She's come back onto the road, still heading this way. Okay, Tundi, sneaky again. Monique is wondering, do I have any idea where Hukamuri is? I don't. The last I heard, he had a bit of an argument with Anderson, but I'm not even sure where that took place. I think Tristan knows more about what happened there than I do. Okay, okay. Now, we came from Bateleur Dam. There were just lots of elephant tracks there. No sign of Tundi's tracks. So she might have disappeared still towards Njala Road South. And speaking of elephants, let's go across to Tristan, who's got some.
I do. I have a very small little herd. It's just a female and her young ones that are here. Maybe the rest of the herd has already gone past, but they're having a really nice little mud wallow. Particularly this baby has kind of been left behind and is playing in the mud and really enjoying itself. But I think Mom's cut that short by going northwards up and away from the pan. So we'll have to try and follow them along. Our leopard tracks look like they turn southwards towards Little Gowrie, so I don't think this leopard is going to be around, but we'll just double check at Treehouse Dam after these ellies. We'll try and follow the ellies for a little bit first. Hopefully they won't walk too fast, but from what I saw, it was just tracks for the three of them, so I didn't see tracks for more elephants before these three arrived at the pan. I think it's just a small little grouping together. It seems to be the kind of way things have gone over the last few months, as we've had a lot of these small groups. I'm still desperately trying to find Fang's herd. Brent said he saw them this morning again on foot, and he had them at Buffelshoek Dam the other day, but I've had no luck with them. It seems as though they're hanging up on that northern side, so we'll have to keep trying to look for them. But in the meantime, we're going to have these smaller little groupings that are around, and isn't that cool? Having the three bums walking down the road. That's a proper roadblock, and this is African traffic. This is how we do our traffic in the afternoons. Some people are sitting in afternoon traffic as we speak, probably in places like Cape Town and Johannesburg, and we have little elephants, well, I suppose not little, big elephant with two little ones walking down the road, and that's the traffic that we have. Isn't that cool? It's not very often you get them kind of walking down the road for a long period of time. Often they just cross the road and then they go off into the grassland and into the thickets, and you'll find a situation where the big bulls are the ones that often use the roads, but sometimes you'll get a herd doing this. It's very cool when they do. I always enjoy watching them as they go. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering about what happened with the elephants from this morning, whether or not us leaving woke them up. Well, unfortunately, it woke one up, and then the rest were all sleeping, and we were about to make a getaway, and then I accidentally drove over a branch, and I woke the other two little ones up. We left, and the one female was still down, and one of the other ones was getting up, but the first little one that went to sleep got up, but I did awake them. I'm afraid I was naughty. I was a bad slumber party host in the end, unfortunately. Right, now I'm going to keep going towards these ellies, see if we can sit with them a little while longer. While we do that, let's send you back across to Taylor, who's still got that snake, and I believe it's slithering down the branch.
Look how cool this is. The snake has moved just a little bit. I also climbed out of the car to try and take a photo of it. So I'm climbing back into the car now. I'm going to just stand next to it and plug myself in, and I'll watch the monitor from here. I was having a little look around to see what else we could find, but no more snakes. But it's definitely eaten something. So Craig was like, maybe it's just sitting up in the tops of the branches, trying to get some of the sun, trying to just digest its food. That's exactly what it could be doing. But there you can see that there's definitely something in its belly. And I reckon it's probably only maybe ate it an hour and a bit ago. I don't think too long ago. Very nice to see. These snakes have got such big eyes. Really, 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 really big eyes too. Incredible eyesight. So when a chameleon sits very still, it hopes that a boomslang hasn't spotted it. This is so epic. But it is watching us. It's definitely been keeping an eye on us the entire time. Perhaps it's also nervous. I can't imagine why, though. I mean, I'm not going to go over there and catch it, that's for sure. I don't like to touch any venomous snakes. They can just stand and I'll just watch them from the distance. So cool. But it's really not very big. It kind of looks big on screen, but it isn't. The fact that it's got those colors just shows you that I don't even think it would be a year old. I think it's maybe only a month or bit something old. It's not very big. Just trying to think when they would first shed their skin. Maybe, I suppose it would also depend how rapidly it's growing, how much it's eating, maybe after the first week or two. Mina, now here's a question that, well, I suppose it's up for interpretation and everybody would have a different answer. You said which snake has the prettiest pattern, prettiest coloration. I like the juvenile boomslangs. I think I've in fact said this to you before, that I think that they're some of the prettiest snakes, especially when we saw it inflate its throat at that chugra. I was not happy with it, and you could see the orange, the grey, and then the bright green eyes, beautiful as well. Puff adders, you get some amazing colorations on puff adders, especially if you've got really sort of dark. Craig's just having a little coughing fit. You okay, Craig? Do you want some water? There we go. You okay? We don't need to call paramedics? Sure? He's fine. So it's kind of up to you. So in my opinion, you know what another one is? A Cape Cobra. My goodness. A Cape Cobra is beautiful. The golden yellows that they go. Perhaps you want to type Cape Cobra into your Google search engine or whichever search engine you use and have a look at them. Craig, what snake do you think's got the prettiest design on it?
I don't know. There's some cool rat snakes as well.
Rat snakes, says Craig. Have a look at some of those. What about a red-lipped herald? They're quite pretty too. Some of the scarp steerkers have got amazing patterns on their bodies. But let us know, what's your favorite snake? It doesn't even have to be a snake that occurs in Africa or South Africa. It could be perhaps from wherever in the world you are from. Let us know. Hashtag Safari Live. It'll be quite cool. Maybe I'll learn a thing or two. Maybe I'll even hear about a snake that I have no idea about. There are so many of them. But this is really cool. I think we're going to head off now, though. I think we're going to leave our snaky. I'm just going to unplug myself for like 2 seconds. Sorry, that's me jumping in. Climbing back in again. Bye, Snaky. It was nice to know you. Be safe. There you go, here. Wait. Kathy, you're wondering when it will turn green? I suppose, or you said, is it only the males that turn green? Yeah, the males are typically green. The females tend to sort of be more brown and greyish in colour. I don't know what the sex of that little one is, unfortunately. Let me try and get out here. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one, unfortunately. Maybe a couple of years before it eventually gets a colour. I'll have to find out, but I'm not sure. I don't even have my snake book with me. Although I don't know when it would tell you when it would get its adult coloration. I think it depends on how many times it sheds and how much it's eating, how quickly it's growing. You know, what happens if you ever have a real cold spell? And typically the snakes will go and hide away like the other reptiles and don't do too much. They do as little as possible, having to get their energy from an external source. So sitting on a road, baking in a rock or on the sand. They do need warmer temperatures. Olivia, you said that your favorite is the horned viper. Very cool. I'll have to have a little look and see exactly what that looks like. Right, off you go back to Tristan to see if he's doing well on Chitwa.
Well, Taylor, I'm not sure, no. On Chitwa, I'm very far away from Chitwa at the moment. I'm sitting quite close towards Treehouse Dam. Don't fly. No, you naughty, don't fly. I was hoping it wasn't going to fly. I had a nice greater blue-eared starling that was very nice against the background, but it's flown away. So I'll go back around towards the other side of the treehouse. And so the reason why I came past here is because our Ellies cut off into the bush at a rapid rate, and they didn't want anything to do with me after they so elegantly walked down the road, lifted their tail and defecated in my face, and then decided to walk off. So kind of took the sign from there that it was a lost cause, and then came back to in my face, Rebecca. As I came around the corner, all I saw was a giant big ball of dung falling from a tail area towards the front of the car, which was not very nice at all. It was a bit rude, I think. Anyway, we kind of decided we'll just take the message and go. And so I thought I'd just come to Treehouse to check if maybe this leopard did turn back, but no tracks coming this way at all. It seems as though it went south into Little Gowrie, which I suppose is par for the course for Hosanna. I'm just double checking because sometimes he can be a little bit of a sneaky leopard when he wants to be. He can lie somewhere where it's kind of plain sight, but you don't see him until the last minute. But I don't see anything. The only thing I can see is impala, guinea fowl, and a kudu in the background. So it's our same group of male kudus that we saw this morning. That's not the same one that we had this morning, but it's the same grouping because I saw the other two. They're up in the top. They're going to slowly come down and join that one. And then the male impala and the guinea fowls all together. And that's a good indication that in all likelihood there really isn't a leopard very close, because guinea fowl have a very keen set of eyes, and normally if there's a spotted cat around, they pick it up quite quickly, unless of course they're being hunted by said spotted cat, in which case there might not be any sign of them, well, might not be aware that he is here at all. But I don't think so. I don't see anything, and there's no real tracks to indicate a leopard in this general vicinity. I feel like if we want to find Hosanna these days, I just need to find a buffalo, and then that will be perfect, because he just seems to be following buffalo around all the time. Now you'll find that these guys, though, are kind of probably had a drink, and now they're just moving off into the thicket. Up that drainage line is perfect habitat for kudu in particular. The impala not so much, but the impala can latch onto the kudu and use their eyes and ears as a little bit of a sort of, what would you call it, early warning system to be able to detect any predators. Now, Seb, have you got a terrapin there? Yes, a little terrapin that's busy bobbing around. It's amazing how many terrapins are actually at Treehouse Dam. I wonder if this were to dry, where all these terrapins would end up going. I feel like there'd be a lot of dead terrapins around, because this seems to house masses of these things. When you see the hippos around, they just come swimming from all directions to try and get onto the hippo's head. And I wonder if this is our hippo friend, the one that kind of went onto the hippo's top of its head and sat there for a while. That one was very cool. Do you remember? Were you with me, Seb? Yes, yeah. It was very, very cool. We had a good time that day. And I wonder where Scuba Steve is gone. Maybe he's at Buffelshoek Dam at the moment. But all otherwise very quiet. There's not really any alarm calls. Still very pretty at Treehouse Dam. It's always nice just to come and sit here and take it all in. Sometimes you just listen and try and hear if you can hear any alarm calls or anything like that. But it seems to be quite quiet at this stage. Paul, you're asking about wild dogs. I have no idea. And definitely no wild dogs in the area since I've been back at work, which is only the sum total of about 48 hours. But no idea. I think there might have been some while I was on leave. I'm not sure. Seb, any wild dogs while you in the last few weeks?
Maybe once or twice, very rapidly, across Juma.
Okay. So maybe once or twice, but not a lot really. And so no, not very many dogs. I was actually speaking to Grant, who's the wild dog guy for Kruger, and he was telling me that at the moment the dogs are actually quite difficult to monitor what's going on with them. They seem to be all over the place, splitting and dispersing, and he says it's actually doesn't really know how everything's going at the moment, because it's kind of getting into that mating season. We see a lot of dispersal happening, and so a lot of the packs have changed completely and have moved into different areas and slightly kind of different structures. So once the mating starts and they start denning, then everything settles down and we can kind of get a proper sort of look at which dogs are where. But that's one of those beautiful kudu males that we saw this morning with a beautiful set of horns. Ravinda, those guinea fowls are the most fierce of the fierce. They're a lethal bunch of mobsters that run around and attack everybody and chase them, and you've got to be careful that they don't claw out your eyes and peck at your nostrils and your mouth. You've got to be very careful. No, I'm joking. They are seed eaters, so yes, they will chase smaller birds like francolins and buntings and little firefinches and those kind of things, but for the most part they're fairly placid individuals. They don't really chase too many things around. They're not designed to chase and kill or maim or anything like that, and so normally they kind of chase each other and in the process sometimes chase others, but they're not a hugely aggressive bird. They're not as bad as some of the others like the drongos, which are a bit more of a bully than others. Good. Well, I think we're going to carry on. I see that there is another vehicle approaching, which looks like maybe one of the Juma guides, maybe Tax, who hasn't been out for a few days, so that will be nice. And so I think we're going to just carry on. I want to just check on the southern side of Treehouse and move along and see if maybe I can pick up anything else before I start heading down towards Chitwa Dam area. But that's a beautiful specimen of a kudu. I was about to go, but now that he's come out since the open, maybe let's just spend a little longer admiring one of, for me, the most striking antelope that we've got here. I know that the Njalas look really cool, but these guys, just their size and size of their horns, the stripes on the side of their body, and those big manes that they've got are really impressive. And if you look at the size of the horns in relation to the impala in the background, now I know the impala is a little further away, so you're going to get compression of the lens, but those horns are almost the same height as what the impala is standing up, which gives you an idea of just how big kudu are and how amazingly well built they are, and considering they're an antelope that needs to run away from predators. It's a pretty hefty animal, and it's why we don't see that many big male kudu kills. It's really only lions that can target those guys, and not always with great effect. So the kudu is a very clever animal. It also picks up the slightest disturbance with those massive ears and big eyes and big nostrils, and so they're not an easy quarry for any of our predators in this area. Very nice though, isn't it peaceful? I think so. Feels like a nice way just to spend the afternoon, just kind of sitting and enjoying the antelope close to the water hole. So Romit, you're asking about kudu herds and how large they can be. They're generally very small. They never get massive. They're not like some of the other animals, especially the animals that we see in the Mara, so things like topi and impalas, gazelle, wildebeest, zebra. They form really large groupings. These guys, because they spend a lot of time in dense thickets, groupings of kudu are generally on the smaller side. The most kudu that I've seen together, I'm just trying to actually think what the most kudu I've seen together would be, but it would probably be, I would say, must be close to 20. I seem to remember counting 21 once before, which is quite a large grouping, but I know some people that have seen over 30 together, but generally here in the Sabi Sands, if you get more than 10, 11, it's a lot. You normally find just small groupings of 8, 9, 10 that are together, and they then kind of move off. So never really big groups at all, and it's just for a safety point of view, moving around through the thickets, the more there are of you, the more noise you're going to make and the more attention you're attracting to yourself. If you're small groups, particularly in thick areas, you can ghost through there without anyone really knowing that you're there. Good, Seb, let's carry on. Let's leave our kudu to itself. Let's leave it to enjoy its afternoon feast and a bit of a drink down at the local, and see if we can find whatever would like to eat that kudu. That would be quite nice. It's amazing this year. It's just kind of sitting here at Treehouse Dam, and I was thinking about it. I remember last year at this time that we had all of those chrysalis for the Akria butterflies, and this year absolutely none. I haven't seen any. We've seen very few butterflies on drives in the last year. It's been a bit diabolical when it's come to butterflies, and funny enough, actually, when I was in Botswana now recently, we had the most epic butterflies on the roads. When you drive on the roads and there's a bit of elephant dung, and also around the salt pans, they get to where the water is and they kind of congregate there, and it was just amazing to have all kinds of different species. We had dusky coppers, we had brown-veined whites, African vagrants, monarchs, we had a lot of the little spotted blues, we had all kinds of things. I'm just trying to think of others. I'll remember smoky orange tip, scarlet tip, quite a few different butterfly species, so it was really, really nice from that point of view. And I absolutely love butterflies, particularly if you can find them like that on elephant dung or something, because what you do is you can go quite close to the elephant dung and then you lie down and you just sit there, and especially if we're on bushwalk, then they all come to the elephant dung and you get this most amazing eye level view of all these butterflies coming and going. It is actually very, very special. I thoroughly enjoy watching butterflies going up and down and feeding off those things. So it would be nice if we had better butterflies this year, but I feel like it's going to be a bit late for us to get too many butterflies now and to be able to actually see too many. Maybe if we get a bit of rain, we might see some butterflies coming out, but I just don't know. It feels kind of a bit late in the season to get any mass sort of explosion of butterflies in our area, which is a shame. I know some of you are big into the butterflies, and Brent as well. Brent absolutely loves butterflies, and it's always a competition with Brent and I when it comes to anything, as I'm sure you all know. And butterflies last year was a big one, and we wanted to try and see if we could get a few species, and this year has been a little bit disappointing. I haven't even seen Brent's favorite butterfly, which is the wandering donkey. I know that he loves wandering donkeys, and the only reason he loves it, I think, is because of the name more than anything else. But it's one of the kind of a Kruger species that we get out here that's got a very transparent wing, and very pretty little butterfly as well. So none of them. What has been quite good this year though is the diurnal moths, which is that's oh, I forget the name now. Tiger moth? No, not a tiger moth. Oh, it'll come to me just now, but the diurnal moth that we get out here, superb false tiger moth. There we go. See, pudding brain is starting to solidify, and I'm starting to get a real brain again, which will be quite nice. And so hopefully we'll be able to remember more things as the next few days go on. It's amazing how going away on leave makes your brain just go to mush, and you forget all the things that you're supposed to remember on a day-to-day basis. But superb false tiger moths, they've been actually quite good. I've seen quite a few of them, which is those beautiful yellow moths with the black, and then when they fly they get this red. Very, very, very cool little moths to see, and quite a few of them around, so that's quite nice. Okay, well, no leopard around that I can see, no more tracks coming north, so I think this leopard has gone south, I'm afraid, into Little Gowrie, which is a bit of a disappointment. Sad face, but you never know actually, because you might find a leopard coming back. We know with Hasani he can do loops all around. Right, now I believe Brent Leo Smith has finally fought off gremlins and found himself some semblance of signal. So let's jump across to him and see what he thinks about the butterflies that have been around so far, and whether or not he thinks it's been a disappointing butterfly season.
It has been quite disappointing. Tristan is spot on. Late rains and not much of them either. But I did have some good butterflies up on top of the mountains in Mariepskorp and in the forests there. Some Shiraxes and swallowtails. But on average, it's been quite disappointing. And we had, even in the Mara, the butterflies were there, but we didn't really have time to look for too many butterflies while we were in the Mara. Had big distances to cover most days. Now, Tandi's last tracks went into the little river that flows out of Buffelshoek Dam. We've checked Buffelshoek Dam. Oh, no sign of her there. There we go. Oh dear, it flew away, Dave. It flew away, Dave. It flew away. So redback shrike. Dave, the birds don't like you today. So I'm just on Hyena Road at the moment, making sure she hasn't cut through the block up here. And if we have no luck on Hyena Road or Central, then we're going to head back to the last tracks and take a stroll. But it is still quite muggy. But those tracks are from after drive this morning, so sometime during the middle of the day. I just said to Dave, she's becoming more and more like her dear old mom. Walking during the heat of the day, moving up almost the same paths that her mother used to use. This route she took this afternoon is a very, very, very much a Karula route, one that Karula used to use regularly. Okay, I'm hoping there's a little bit of water left in these pans here, because that might have drawn her this way. Let's have a quick look. As if she pops out of these pans, she is definitely becoming her mother. I'm not sure if there's any water in here, that we're about to find out. But if we find her lying next to here, there is a bit of water. But no sign of a Tandy. I can hear there we go, up right up on top right little branch that's going out. No, right up top of the tree. There you go. Top little right branch. There. No. They must have a nest. Oh no, a little bit up against the branch. There we go. I could hear the oxpecker. I couldn't see it. There you go, red-balled oxpecker, making lots of noise. You can also hear a rattling testicular somewhere in the grass. Ta, 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 ta. Very distinct sound that the oxpeckers make. I'm just listening for any sign of the leopard here, but not hearing anything, so I think let's continue back towards the last tracks. Well, if we had found her lying next to this pan, it would have been proper deja vu, because I found Karela on that route many times. Oh, broadtail paradise whiter, paradise whiter, paradise whiter, paradise whiter, paradise whiter. Not a broadtail paradise whiter, just a paradise whiter. No, paradise whiter. Where'd it go, Dave? Dave, you're chasing all the birds today. The coolest Jedi would like to know, speaking of birds, if leopards or cats are very hungry, will they eat birds? Yes, they will. Leopards will actually hunt the bigger birds, francolin and guinea fowl, quite frequently. And we've seen them do it here in the sands. So yes, they will hunt certain birds. I just want to carefully check here as we go up towards the junction with Central Road. Make sure she hasn't already been to the pan and then moved on. Alas, no tracks. There's another little mud wallow here, but I think this one's dry. Yeah, that one's dry. So back to the drawing board, back to last tracks. We've done a loop around the area she's in. No sign of her coming out. Okay, well, I try to figure out, well, how to find Tandy, because she has been giving me a hard time over the last couple of days. Let's go across to Taylor, who's still just bumbling about.
Well, I wish we were bumbling. We're driving really slowly at the moment, but because I'm still trying to hear what's going on in the bush. Craig and I heard an Njala alarming quite hectically, but it sounded very far away. It sounded like it was in the block between Twin Dams Road, Mulwati, and Drakensberg Road. So, or just off Mumba Road, there's this like little sneaky track that comes all the way around and hugs the edge of the Mulwati. Hello, Njala. Funny enough, I was just talking about you. Don't think it was these ones that were alarming, though. It sounded further away. Hello. And you all look very relaxed. Just poking their heads up, having a little look. Nice family. Quite a few of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it looks like 2 adults. And maybe, 3 adults, 3 sub-adults. And a beautiful big bull. A lovely sized herd, in fact. A beautiful size herd. Just tucking themselves away, moving further into this sort of thicket. This is a lovely area. There's so many different types of trees here. So it's perfect for the Njala. bless you, to ever sneeze just now. One of them had a bit of a cough or sneeze or something like that. Was moving around. I don't think it was this lot that were barking, because there's so many of them here. I would imagine if one would start alarming, the rest of them would start chiming in too, especially if it was something like a leopard or a lion. So I think from here we'll probably go back up through the Mulwati onto Twin Dams Road, or perhaps go through the Mulwati all the way just to check the edge of the drainage line, and then go up Drakensberg Road, maybe check Mamba the whole way back. But in Njala, if we hear anything barking coming from this direction, at least we know where they are. Is that a Jumna gene coming in? I'm just watching to see where it's going to land. Very yellow legs. Is it? Oh, it was so quick. It was hard to see what it was. Looks like it's got something in its talons though. Let's go around. Maybe we get a view of it. You hear all the birds starting to alarm as it's flying over as well. Race around, tuck under the trees. Oh, black-collared barbets, land. Where'd you go? It was like 4 black-collared barbets. Oh, quite nice. I haven't seen them for a very long time. Did you see that where that one went? Top there, in that buffalo thorn. Something flew into the sort of more to the, a little bit to the right. But at the top, no, the buffalo thorn. So you see the one with the thin branches on the top left. There you go, center frame, yeah. In there, and then if you go up and to the right a little bit. I think one of them flew in there, but I can't see it moving around. There's too many leaves, unfortunately. Ah, that's a pity. Silly barbets. Beautiful birds. Got lots of red on them. Black ring around their necks, as their name suggests. They love it around this drainage dam, but we don't often get to put them on camera either, so it would have been a nice one, especially for all the first-time viewers. G'day, mate. Jerry, you're wondering if this is down under. No, it's not. This is not Australia at all. This is South Africa, where the bush is even cooler than Australia, if I might say so myself, just because we've got lions, leopards, elephants, buffalo, rhinos, all those really cool animals and amazing birds. So this is in the Sabi Sand Wildtuin, which is a private wilderness area that's open to the Greater Kruger National Park. Perhaps you've heard of it. But welcome. Ask away. Oh, apparently I'm in slow-mo again, and I laughed because someone the other day said that when I it's like basically normal human speed.
Well, it seems as though gremlins abound for Taylor and Brent at some point during the day today, so is with us now. We're on Chitwa at the moment, so we've just come down to see if there's any sign of Kuchava, Hosana, Tingana, Tamba, any of those leopards. They could, or any one of them could be around here. So we're just having a little look around. Just going slowly on the northern side of the dam. I want to just check around, then come back down Gowrie Main. Just have a little look. I'm not sure exactly where Taylor had Kuchava's tracks this morning, where they went from last night. So just kind of bumbling about for a little bit just to see, and then I'll go back to the dam. Well, I'll go down to the dam a little later when it gets a bit sort of cooler. Hopefully then we'll start to see some ellies coming down, and maybe just general sort of action at the dam itself. Chitwa Dam is always a great place late in the afternoon for a lot of animals, so hopefully that's going to be the case. It's a bit quiet at the moment. I don't see any signs of anything right now, but hopefully we will find something. Lots and lots of tracks from last night, though, that I saw at Gowrie Main, Chitwa Old Driveway, which is where Tingana came out for Brent, and close to where Seb and Taylor had Kuchava last night, chased by the sticks. So just having a little scratch and just seeing what's happening. Apparently the little Salala lioness that's on her own came past Chitwa early this morning and was heading in a easterly direction, so they're not sure where she went. In fact, I think that's her tracks right there, isn't it? So there we go. I think that's her tracks right here that have come over and going southwards in this little mitre drain. And so they probably went past the lodge and then they headed in a southeasterly direction from there. But you can see them kind of in that sand. They're a little bit nondescript after the wind we've had today, but those would have been from last night moving that direction. So apparently she wasn't still looking very, very kind of skinny and a bit bleak like she was looking yesterday afternoon, and I'm pretty sure that's how it's going to go. Interestingly enough, though, if it is the Solala lioness, it's been months that this little one has been on her own, and that surprises me massively that she's managed to survive so far being on her by herself like that. It's a testament just how strong the will to survive is of a number of these animals and how strong these animals actually can be. Now, this is quite cool. So you'll see on my left-hand side there's a male impala. Now, hopefully he doesn't run away. No, don't move. You're supposed to stay where you are because you've got an interesting face that I want to show everybody. Because often people will say there's a species of impala that occurs in Namibia called a black-faced impala. And during this time of the year, or as we start getting closer towards May, some of our impalas start to present this sort of black face as well. And everybody always thinks that it might be a black-faced impala here in the Kruger, and it's not the case. This is from when they go into the rut, the males start to get this darkening of the nasal area, and you see it quite commonly in this time of the year. So you will see other males that will get that same sort of dark coloration, particularly when it's rutting season. And you can see all the females are around, so he's obviously trying to start securing females already, although he's got a lot of competition because there's a lot of males that are behind me at the moment, so he's going to have to fight quite a few to get any of these girls to be able to mate with them. But it's almost that time where it's going to be pandemonium amongst the impala herds. Oh, there's a little hitchhiker. I've got a lot of oxpeckers. They always seem to be busy, and you can see how that one is just grooming straight through the fur, kind of combing for any of those little ticks or any parasites that they can potentially get and be able to feed off. And it's amazing how they move around on these birds and how they're able to get onto the top, kind of comb through as well as climb on the sides, and they've got those specially adapted feet that just help them to be able to do this, because a normal perching bird, say a normal passerines, would struggle with this because they don't have the ability to really grip on a vertical surface. But these guys, because they've got those X-shaped feet, so they have two toes going back, two toes going forward, and that allows them then to almost act like grappling hooks along the side of the body, which is very, very cool. All looking very pretty though, considering it's now the end of summer. They should look at their best. They should be able to have the most food that they've had throughout the year, and so their coat should be really good, and their general body condition should be at the best that it's going to be. But I think it's going to be a tough winter. If we don't get more rain, we're going to have a very dry winter once again. There's a lot of water points that are dry already and that are not going to house water for very much longer. Some of the others that still do, which is going to be interesting. So it's going to be a tough winter, I think, if we don't get rain. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a similar situation to what we had last year and the year before, where a lot of animals are going to be quite desperate for water. They're going to have to move to long distances to find water every day. And Chitwa Dam will become another hotspot once again, as will Twin Dams and Treehouse, given that those are the only real water points. And Buffelshoek Dam actually this year might be quite a big one, considering that there are a few buffalo around, and that dam seems to have the most water on Juma at the moment. Very cool though to see. It'd be nice if they started shouting, because that means we would then have maybe a little spotted cat around, but we'll keep looking. I'm sure Kuchava's not far. I think she might. I have this feeling that there's a leopard behind the dam wall, but I don't want to play my trump card until I can actually, until it's the last resort, because once we go there, then I'll feel a little bit more demoralized. I don't want to be demoralized. I want to have high spirits, and then when we go down there, we're going to just kind of top it off by finding a leopard down in the bottom there. But what I want to do is maybe just check going northwards up the Mulawanini, if it is drivable. It was drivable the last time I was here, so... Oh, now apparently is my signal okay, Rebecca? You broke up a little bit. I didn't hear you before I go any further. Rebecca? You there? It's interesting. Doesn't sound like I can hear Rebecca. Yeah, there we go. There she is. Rebecca is there, so hopefully we'll be alright. Is our signal okay, Rebecca? I don't know. Ah, okay. Good. So there we go. My signal is all good. Apparently they need to stay with us because the other two cars are having a few signal issues. So that's okay, Rebecca. You're welcome to stay with us. We're the fun car anyway, aren't we, Seb?
Exactly.
So, Nina, the reason leopards hang around drainage lines, just like this beautiful drainage line that we are in at the moment, is because they like the vegetation that is around here. So there's two factors here. There's one, is there's a lot of generally water close by, and leopards like to have water close by because they know that that attracts not only food, but it also allows them to hydrate. The second thing is vegetation that grows on the banks of these areas. So you see here, it gets quite dense, quite thick, and this is perfect habitat for a leopard to be able to hide and camouflage. And you remember, a leopard is an ambush predator, so getting into thickets like this helps it to be able to hunt, find the food that it likes. Also, this is a great place for things like bushbuck and Njala. You'll find duiker even in these areas, and those are all leopard favorites. So they like these kind of places because of the habitat that it provides. And then also it performs a great place to have young ones. So for female leopards, perfect place to have a young one. You can see places like this where you've got rocky outcrops where they can hide their cubs. This is a great place for them. Now, these are the rocks that I still want to see a leopard on. It still hasn't happened. I've had many leopards walk past these rocks, but not one lying on them just yet. It will happen. I will get it eventually, and I'm putting my money that it's going to be Hosanna. But for now, no leopard for me. Now, Rebecca, you would lie on here. Okay, Rebecca. Well, one day we'll have to organize with Chitwa, and you can come and bring a picnic, and then you can have a picnic on the rock if that's okay with you. I don't know. Maybe. Blu-ray, is it Blu-rays or Blu-rays? Anyway, hopefully Rebecca will give me an answer. Oh, I can't hear that. Can you hear that?
No, I'm looking at that here.
Ghoul, okay, as in ghost, okay. Now, sorry, Rebecca, in here the comms are all but gone, so I'm just getting half of it, but ghoul rays, I think it is. You're asking how often we bump into leopards. The answer to that is pretty often, in fact. We bump into leopards probably more times than we actually track them, and the reason why we bump into them more than we track them is because we roughly know where they like to move around, and so we give ourselves our best possible chance by driving in those areas, and we check water points, and we often find them lying up or going towards water, and then we bump into them. So we bump into leopards a lot. It's a good place to go and kind of check around and to have a look and to find areas or to find leopards. You kind of know where you want to drive, and so a lot of it is bumping and a lot of it is also driving. Oh, don't fly. So these are beautiful birds that we don't often get on camera. Just up on my right hand side, so we've got green pigeons, African green pigeons, which are very cool birds. You can see they've got that kind of olive green to them with those yellowy colored legs and then that reddish beak. And shame, that poor pigeon seems to be quite hot. It's a bit puffed up at the moment, which would probably be better if it fluffed that all down. You can see, look how it's fluttering its gula flutter. It's doing its best it can, almost panting like the cats would or dogs would, to try and cool its body down as much as possible. Aren't they pretty? I know doves and general sort of pigeons are not the prettiest birds out there, but these guys definitely take the cake for the best sort of looking of the pigeon species, in my opinion, in this area. Oh, nice. Go to the toilet. Of course, now that I just said you look good, now you want to defecate everywhere. But you see, when they kind of calm down, look at all the shades of green that they've got on them. Isn't that beautiful? I think so. And you'll find that they hang around in these areas quite a bit. Anywhere where you've got big fruiting trees like figs or jackalberries, they like those areas a lot. So that's why they're there. What are you doing? I think it might fly. There we go. It's gone. Off it goes into the distance. Now, there was a friend, but I don't know. There goes the friend. The friend has just gone off. And I wonder if it's because there's a bit of thunder that is rolling behind me. So we've got a lot of thunder that is kind of causing a bit of a stir, and so I wonder if we're going to get some rain. Please don't rain on me. I don't have my rain cover or my rain roof on. It's all Taylor's fault. She brought it up this morning and has jinxed it. And talking about Taylor, she's finally decided that she would like to contribute to this afternoon safari, and so let's send you across to her and find out what she's been doing in the last little bit.
What? Tristan? Nancy Dix. I can't remember what Tristan's second name is, so I just gave him a new one. And I gave you a girl's name, Tristan. How dare you? I'm offended. No, I'm just kidding. I've got a tough skin. Sorry, who was with the snake for like half an hour? Yeah. No, we have been around. Our signal in Jig-Jag is just not fabulous, unfortunately. And I don't know, whatever this thing is that's brewing all of a sudden, maybe that's having something to do with it, but at least we've got some Bateleurs. Now, they've perched themselves. There's actually 3 Bateleurs here, sitting in the dead knobthorn trees. There's the other one you can see on the left-hand side. And all three of them are adults. I don't really see any mottled plumage that is an indication that perhaps the juvenile's still hanging around. And that's quite a nice example also, just to show you how short their tails are. Look how long those wing feathers are. They're beautiful, but you can't even see the tail. Kind of makes them look a little bit awkward, but they're up there perched, and I wonder if all the thunder that's rumbling far to the west of us, doesn't seem like it's coming over us. It seems to be quite far away. Perhaps that's the reason why a lot of these birds have decided to perch themselves, and it'd be quite nice. We'll try and look out for some more eagles that are doing a similar thing. But it's nice now. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's not too windy, or we might just be in a very sheltered spot though. That could also be the case. Paul, you've said fingers crossed for torrential rains. I also hope so, but I can tell you right now, everyone sitting in final control's got their fingers crossed that it only happens at 6:45 this evening, once the show has finished. As you know, it becomes quite a nightmare when it just pours down or lightning comes about, as it sometimes becomes a little bit dangerous to broadcast. So especially if there is an electric storm building, we have to be careful. But like I said, it's very far away. I don't think we're going to get rained on. But yes, I would also like torrential rain. I think we need it. Actually, no, I don't want torrential rain, because then I'm worried that the ground doesn't absorb enough of the water. It causes more damage sometimes than anything else. But it would be nice if we could get heavy rain for a couple of hours. Rebecca thought I said I was going to be worried about my hair. Now, Dale, you said, is that Bateleur there molting? Not melting. It could be melting from the heat earlier on, but they've now solidified. I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Those two don't look like they've got any mottled feathers on them. You can see that's quite normal. And you can see all the red facial skin, so they look like they've got their adult colors. Okay, can we have a look at the other one? Because it's actually got its head, well, around the other side. And again, no, I don't think so. That's what I said. I think these three are actually adults. There's no sun, there's no sort of brown, you know, when Bateleurs are juveniles. I'm trying to find a photo, but do you think I can find where the Bateleur eagle section is? No. I thought it had its own thing. I can also hear birds alarming. Bateleur, there we go, found it. I'll show you a picture now in like 2 seconds. Juvenile, where are you? Here we go, have a look at this. This is what the juvenile looks like. I'll turn it that way. Oh no, I've locked. Oh no, Craig, I'm sorry. That's all my fault. Rookie error. I tried to turn my phone and then realized I locked it. So there's the juvenile that you can see. And I'm just touching my screen because otherwise it goes dark. So you can still see almost like there's no feathers between the beak and the eye. Almost like a grey tinge, quite similar to the African harrier hawk, and then those brown mottled feathers. And it takes them quite a few years. It takes up to 5 years. Oh, no, I lie. 7 years, isn't it, for a Bateleur to become an adult? 7 years. Long time. So those both of those look like adults, and the third one, I think, is also an adult, which is quite nice. Beautiful. They're stunning birds. We didn't often get to see them perched in the Mara. Well, I can't say that I saw too many perched Bateleurs. I saw lots of, oh, you know what I am missing? I'm missing the black-chested snake eagles. They were cool. On those interesting molting ones, we'd see ones that were molting. Remember, we had that really cool sighting and we worked out it was a black-chested snake eagle. It was quite nice. But these are lovely too. Kristen, you're quite right in saying that the Bateleur coloration reminds you of Halloween. I actually think that too. Bright orangey red pumpkin face, legs that match, and then wearing a big black cape. Oh, it is quite cool, in fact. They have to be the prettiest of the eagles. I mean, there's no other eagles that we get in South Africa that have got quite the dramatic coloration like the Bateleur eagle does. Oh, that's very nice. Now, I can hear some birds going crazy, and it's in the same area where I heard that Njala barking. So I think we're going to try and follow up. We seem to be getting closer on Leadwood Road, so we're going to come back up over that way. So that's going to be quite nice. Hopefully some positive prospects in the near future. Right, I'm going to pass Tristan's snarky comments that he passed on to me straight back to Brent. Brent, where have you been all afternoon? Why have you not been partaking in the show? He's finally back in the car. Let's go and see where his hooves took him.
Oh dear. Well, Tandi's been quite tricky. Her last tracks are down there, and then a herd of elephants have obliterated the tracks. So we're doing a bit of guesswork at the moment, and I was hoping she maybe popped up towards Buffelshoek Dam for a drink, but no such luck. So I think she might have cut through into this block between Hippo Pools Road and Quarry Pan, where I'm almost 100% sure she left the little one. So if she's doing that, she might be doing a hunting loop sort of back towards Quarry Pan. So back to Quarry Pan we go. I seem like I've been spending a lot of time around Quarry Pan since I've been back, but it's been quite successful. Spinks is wondering, do I have a favorite animal in the Sabi Sands? Indeed I do. It is the African wild dog by a mile. Oh, but we have a bird. A big bird up in the tree. There we go. White-backed vulture. Now that buffalo carcass is not too far from here, where the Avoca males are. Okay, hang on guys, there's that alarm cause. Could be a snake. Could also be a leopard. Those Franklin are going berserk. Now, they can see whatever they're alarming at. And there's more than one alarming. It's not one panicky Franklin. So let's try to get eyes on the Franklin. I actually think this could be a snake. I'll be looking carefully in this little Sisyphus. They are very upset. You see the Franklin yet? There they are. Is that one? What's that one? It's just behind the bush. But they were very upset. Now their behavior there, for me, screamed snake. It might have slithered off as we moved towards. I was sort of hoping there might be a big python on the ground, but, well, not that lucky this time. Just carefully checking the branches around here to see if I can spot a snake. Strangely enough, I know Taylor's already seen a snake today, and so have we. We had a brief visual of a lilac-breasted roller with a little blind snake in its mouth, but it flew off very quickly. No, all gone quiet. PT is wondering, do we get ostrich here? Indeed we do. Not as common as in the Mara, but occasionally we do have ostriches wandering through. I've seen one on quarantine before. As I say, I'm pretty sure that there was a snake there, but it slithered off. We're going to keep slithering towards Quarry Pan. Just going very slowly, using our ears, our eyes, our noses, everything to possibly try find Tandi. Cenac is wondering, is it common for francolins to hide in bushes from predators? Yes, it is. It all depends on what predator they're trying to hide from. But often, as you see, if they spot a predator, they will call like that and often mob towards it to try and let the predator know that it's been spotted and they're not going to fall for any of its tricks to get caught. Okay, so no sign of her coming out this side yet. It's just such a mystery where she could have gone. Just elephant tracks. Now, of course, in the winter months, it's normally quite a lot easier to find the cats. Less grass about. So our visibility is extended quite a lot further. So at this time of the year, we've got to really rely on our ears mostly for hearing alarm calls. And hopefully just spotting the flick of an ear or the swish of a tail. You might have heard some thunder in the distance. I still don't think it's going to get to us. Quite a long way away. Come on, Tundi. Be drinking at Gwaripan. Patty is wondering, what are some of the things that animals and birds do before a storm? Well, they pretty much just keep carrying on. There's not much they can do. They can't run into their houses or anything like that. So they just sort of carry on with their daily lives. They'll carry on feeding and oh, elephants. Let's go catch up with them. Feeding. Oh, I think we just missed him having a mud bath at Gwaripan. That's, I mean, Tandy's definitely not going to be drinking there. It's like a lone bull. Hello, big boy. We just missed you having a splish splash. Oh, he doesn't want to hang around. He's on a mission. Nice big elephant bull. Let's see. I was hoping he might be stopping for a little snack after his mud bath. Or at least a little sand wallow. Oh, he's got an itchy ear. Let's just hop around the corner here. Hey, big boy. You're not hanging about. Lovely big elephant bull. Disappearing into the greenery. Dave, I spotted something. You ready for a challenge? Oh, this is going to test you, Dave. This is going to test you. And it's going to test me to try spot it again. But it was a Karachani button quail in the grass. It's going to go off there quickly. So they are very difficult to get on camera. They're tiny little quails like this. They just disappear into the grass. I saw it run in here somewhere. Now, can you see any movement? So it went in just here, towards there. Oh, they're so difficult to get on camera. We got some really tiny babies on camera at Cheetah Plains once. No, I think it's camouflage is winning. Well, let's go across to Tristan to see where he's off to next.
Well, we're not crossing a river, Brent, but we are crossing a little wallowy area that apparently, now this is on the grapevine, and a little birdie has told me that you were too scared to go through, and apparently you were scared that you were going to get stuck, which just shows the person who has the biggest mouth about getting stuck and how he never gets stuck was too scared to negotiate this area and had to turn around and go back. So now we just had to prove quickly to Brent that it is possible, and that it's a thing called low range on a Land Rover, and what you do is you push the gear in and then it helps you to get through thick, muddy sections just like that. Now I know what his retort is going to be. His retort is going to be that I got stuck in Botswana and he never gets stuck in Botswana. I am going to go and phone his parents and find out how many times Brent Leo Smith was stuck in Botswana, and I can guarantee you it's more than times than I've been stuck in Botswana. I can assure you that, most definitely. But anyway, just joking around with Brenty. It does look quite sort of ominous when you haven't been through it, and of course Brent hasn't been here for so long that he probably wasn't sure just how deep it is, and it has gotten deeper, so you've got to be a little careful there. You can't just go through it all guns blazing unless you want to have a bit of an issue. Now I also need to get out of low range because it is very loud when we're in low range, and carry on. So we're behind Chitwa Dam wall, as I'm sure many of you have guessed, and I'm just having a look around. No sign of any leopard, no tracks for leopard. Seems to be quite quiet on the side. In fact, not even any nice birds today, which is a bit of a strange one. We normally see some nice birds behind here, but you never know. We're going to keep trying and just keep checking around. It's also a good place just to check for our crocodiles. Now you might think, why would you check for crocodiles here? Well, they sometimes nest on the banks here, and it's starting to get to that time. I think we're a bit early still. What are we now? March. No, we're way too early. What am I thinking? It's only normally in about June, July that we should be checking for them. So we'll have a little look. But let's see if there's anything maybe on the other side here. There's sometimes a little gully system that we know Tamba, Hosana, Kuchava have all been seen in, so it's worthwhile. There's a bushbuck, so that doesn't promote any sort of good things, because bushbuck generally see leopards quite easily, and maybe our leopard is stalking a bushbuck. You never know. It's always good just to check. So there's a little female bushbuck that's just sitting on the edge having a little feed. Now we don't see too many bushbuck around these days. It's mostly the Nyalas that we see, that Taylor had earlier, so it's nice when we get a little bushbuck. They often are around camp areas. They like these kind of thickets, and they like the sort of movement of people in camps. It's probably a little safer, but you can see that poor bushbuck, it seems like it's quite hot. It's breathing quite fast, and they do have quite a thick coat, so I suppose warmth is a problem, or heat is a problem, and they have to then breathe a little quicker just to try and cool down a bit. Very pretty little animals though. You see they lack the white stripes that the Nyalas have, so even though they look very similar to a female Nyala, they lack those white stripes. Instead they've got little white dots that are all over the place and around the sort of flanks. Yes, hippos, we'll get to you just now. Don't be too jealous. We are coming that way just now. We're just admiring the bushbuck first. So hippos are busy calling from on the other side of the dam wall and making quite a racket at this stage. I wonder, is there a little one anywhere there? I didn't see any movement of a little one. Sometimes when you find them like this, they might have babies with them. And a baby bushbuck is a very cute little thing, so it's always worth just double checking. It seems like nothing's there. Alright, let's carry on and see if there is anything in the gully. We'll just double check, because if a leopard lies in this gully, it can sometimes be very difficult to actually see it unless it's moving around. So we're just going to go down. I wonder where Kuchava went yesterday. I wonder if she maybe came this side. I remember when I went on leave, this is where we found her, the day I went on leave. So I wonder if maybe, just maybe, she's been using this as a little hideout. It's a fairly good place to go because it's got this nice steep gully, and you know, as a leopard you can hide quite well inside here. Amazing how long the grass has also gotten. It's much longer than it used to be. Anything your side there, Seb? Also a good place to look on that side. No. Alright, let's have a look. No leopard there. No leopard to back that side. No. You have to be careful with this gully because sometimes the leopards lie right up against the bank and you can't actually see them, but there's nothing here today. So we're going to go back towards the dam, see what's happening there. While we do that, let's send you across to Taylor McCurdy, who I think has got something that shares the name of the animal that we've been looking for.
I'm sure you all guessed leopard tortoise then. If Oh, there it is. For a minute I lost it. I couldn't figure out where it went. So camouflaged. Another creature, another reptile that's got beautiful patterns. And a fairly small leopard tortoise, although bigger than the ones we normally see. They get quite big. They can weigh well over 30 kilograms. I've seen some massive ones over the years. Sadly, I haven't seen too many big ones out here in the wild. I suppose that's because there's lots and lots of bush around. Very easy to identify. Even if you just look at the shell, look at all those little like mini pyramids it's got on its shell. It's quite cool actually. And they are typically dark in color like this with a bit of yellow on them. I used to have one, and his name was Tortoise, because, you know, originality was strong with my family. And we had him for many, many years. We actually found him on a freeway, so we took him to our home. We had a farm where he lived out his days. But he had orange on him. I have no idea what made him go orange in color on his shell. And I promise he didn't spend much time at the tanning salon either, or, well, not even the fake spray tan salon. But it was quite cool to see. He wasn't too big though, not anywhere near the size. So he must have been quite a young tortoise. They can live forever. Remember, they can live up to about 100 years or so, although I don't think I've ever seen a leopard tortoise that's quite close to 100 years. Be a lot of counting, but they're very cool. But unfortunately he's now hiding away. Why did you hide away like that? I think it must have gone down towards Treehouse Dam for a drink. Oh, so I'll finish off that story in a little bit, but let's go across to Brent's bird before it flies away.
Oh, there we go. A purple roller. Looks like quite a favourite spot. Oh, Dov, you see what landed? And this one's a good one to test you lot on. Noisy but very pretty little woodpecker. Oh, whoa, quick test. No, it's still there. See it on the bottom tree? You see where it landed, Dov? Okay, so there, just slowly. I can just see it. No, not on the marula. No, he's close. Ah, he's gone. He's gone. There's a quick little woodpecker. If you know the name of that woodpecker, hashtag Safari Live. And see, that was a good quick test to see if you know. But our purple roller's also gone. Oh dearie me! I was just getting the woodpecker page out quickly. There we go. Well, we're going to keep going while you guys try to figure out which woodpecker that was. I'll give you a hint. It's quite small. It is still nice and toasty, very humid. This is the area where we think Thandi left the cub. Mina's wondering, when does our summer season end? About now, Mina. We're at the end of summer now. So what are we? March, April, sort of the beginning when. So we don't really have fall and spring. We sort of have wet and dry and hot and cold. Top of the marula tree there, Dov. There we go. Do some birding while we wait to hear the alarm calls to send us in the direction of the leopard. And we have magpie shrike sitting on top of that marula. Small flock of them. The others are in a bit of the thicker stuff below. Little predatory birds that live in flocks, hunting insects, occasionally small snakes, small rodents, but mostly insectivorous. Well done, Mafuta and Jill. You are spot on. It was indeed the cardinal woodpecker. There we go. That is the male. That is the female. And it is the smallest of the woodpeckers that we get here. Okay. Voila. Let's keep moving. So I'm going to I'm hesitant to leave this area. I'm sure Tundi's here somewhere close. And she's in one of these thicker areas, and I'm just waiting for something to spot her. An impala or a Njala or kudu, and give off the alarm, or monkeys even, and send us there. So while we wait for that to happen, I think I'm going to do some birding. And I think a good spot to go sit and wait for a little bit is Buffelshoek Waterhole. You never know if some eddies might come down. Now, someone else who is already at a waterhole is Tristan, so let's go see what's happening at Chitwa.
I am at a waterhole, the biggest waterhole that we have in this whole area, in fact the whole of the Sabi Sands, and the ever-present hippos are busy yawning and doing their thing, and it's kind of a very relaxed afternoon at Chitwa. I think it's been a hot day and it's still quite muggy. There's a little bit of a sort of close feel, although there's a little wind that's picked up now, which is quite pleasant. Now, sorry Rebecca, I didn't hear the name. If you can just repeat that. Oh, shame, there's a limping waterbuck coming down to drink. It's got a little limp on it. So Kiki, you're asking what happens when the hippos have no water. What do they do? Well, unfortunately for hippos is that they have to then walk quite a bit. So you see that is limping a little bit, which is going to be a target for any of the predators. But hippos will have to walk. So if this had to dry up, they would have to then start walking and finding a different area in order to inhabit. And that means that they'd probably go north or south, wherever there might be some semblance of water, but a lot of them would die. And so we know in 2016, during the drought that we had in that year, that many hippos unfortunately died because they weren't able to find water, and they then dehydrated very, very quickly. And they lost a lot of condition through lack of food. So it's a tough time. If there's no water, there's generally very little food, and that means that a lot of the hippos unfortunately die. And I suppose it's nature's way of kind of controlling hippo populations. Remember that hippos don't really have many natural predators. It's very few baby hippos that die from being hunted, or any hippos that die from being hunted, and so nature has to kind of deal with it in some ways. And I suppose a little kind of drought here and there, it just controls the numbers. Now, Seb, if I can ask you, on the other side there's a tree right next to the bank of the dam, and there's a hippo underneath it, but does it have its tiny little baby, a new baby there? Because the where it's lying is a very strange place, and it's kind of moving about, and I wonder if maybe there's a new little one somewhere in this area. What are you doing? Because it's also kind of canted to one side, so normally when hippos lie in places like that, it's sometimes when they've got tiny babies with them, or there's a new little individual. Although that hippo looks very young still. It's difficult to say, it's so far away. We'll have to try and get a little closer just now. But it looks like maybe, I suppose it could just be playing. Are you playing around, or do you have a little one somewhere there? It looks like maybe too small a hippo to have bred already. What is it doing? It's almost like biting at the tree. I wonder if the roots or something is what it's trying to bite at. You see, it's kind of nibbling on the root system of that tree. That's interesting. I have never seen a hippo at Chitwa Dam messing around on those little root structures. So I have no idea what it is actually doing. It doesn't look like it's actually eating. It's very strange. What are you up to, little hippo? Like I say, it looks like a sub-adult. Now that its head's come out and you can see its dental structure, it's not a fully grown individual, and so that won't have a young one, but it seems to be kind of rolling around and moving. What are you doing? Hippos are funny animals. They really are. They're so strange. I believe Taylor's had some great sightings of the hippos here the last few evenings, and Seb, you've been with Taylor, so you'll know about those as well. It's interesting to kind of see what they get up to. Christy, you say Chitwa is your favorite place to watch. It is an amazing place, isn't it? There's always just something happening. So even though, there's a lot of the same kind of things, there's waterbuck and there's hippos, but there's always just something. The hippos are doing something different, or there's some new birds, or there's a leopard that comes through, elephants that come down to drink. We've got a lot of Njala in the background. We've got the hippos playing and messing around here, and so there's always just something that you can sit and watch. And actually the thing about Chitwa Dam, and the secret with it, is the more time you spend here and the more you actually just sit and enjoy the waterhole, the more things you will actually see. And slowly but surely things trickle down in the afternoons, even in the early mornings. You'll find things coming down and then leaving, and different animals coming, and sometimes you can see a lot of amazing things from here. I remember a day when I was at Chitwa, working there, that we had cheetah, wild dogs, lion, leopard, elephant, and buffalo and rhino come down to this waterhole in the space of a day. So we had all of the magnificent 7, plus waterbuck, zebra, wildebeest, giraffe. It was all kinds of animals that came down. It was really, you kind of have these bumper days here, and when it's in the dry season in the winter, if we've got buffalo around, a lot of them come down to this waterhole, and sometimes this whole open area can just be filled with buffalo all over the place, and then you find the cats come, and so it's a great place just to sit and watch. And then in summer months it's great for birds, so you get random birds that show up here, like the time when we did our big birding day, or our birding big day. Otherwise James is going to smack me around the ears. And when we were doing our birding big day, that we had the terns in this area at the moment. So, Rebecca, did you find that funny? It's true though, James does want to clip you around the ears when you get these things wrong. So Rebecca's laughing because apparently she was the one that made the mistake in the beginning that caused James to get very upset about the fact that we were calling it Big Birding Day, because we don't only look for big birds, we look for any bird. So it's actually Birding Big Day. That's what it's called. So don't worry, Rebecca. I think we've all made that mistake and all been told off for it at some point. But there is a beautiful group of male nyalas at the edge that I was talking about. Yes, a grammarist. You do get the grammar slap if you're not careful with James Henry. He will issue many a grammar slap if you are not paying attention and you are very, what is the word, lackadaisical with your approach to the English language. How's that? There we go. Hopefully James will be somewhat impressed with all of that. I probably haven't used it right and he'll probably shout at me, but at least he's on leave, so he won't be able to give me too much trouble for it. But it's always nice, like I say, just to sit here. It's very quiet though today. That's one thing that it is. As I say that, the hippos start calling, but it is very few sounds. So Sinak, hippos will have babies at any time of the year. And in terms of how many hippos are here at Chitwa, well, we can count them if you would like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 that I can see currently, and I would guess that there are a few underwater, so I'm going to call it probably about 17, 18. Yeah, I counted those 2 in the background that are busy having a little play fight and look like young boys that are squaring off a little bit. So I would probably say around 18 is what my guess would be. Generally, Chitwa very seldom goes over 20. The most I've ever seen at Chitwa was 42 hippos in this dam, but that then, when it got dry, a lot of them started to come out actually and move off. There's actually 3 there, so we can add 1 to our total. Catball, so yes, with winter coming, they do spend still a lot of time in water, but you will find them, if it's a very cold day and the water's gotten very cold, that they'll come out and they'll go lie on a bank somewhere and they'll just get some sunshine and try and warm up a little bit. But they do spend still a lot of their time in the water. The thing is that they spend more time out than they do now, in that the night is longer, so they're out for longer periods during the night, and so less time in water because obviously the days are shorter for us. But if it's daylight and it's sunny, then they still do go into the water and spend a lot of time in the water itself. But I actually might adjust my estimate. There actually might be more. There might be about 25 hippos, because I see little heads popping up all over the place across the dam, and so there might be a few more than I initially expected. Our 2 waterbuck are still kind of cruising around. It's just so peaceful here. Like I say, I love spending time in this area. And there's generally, if you are patient at Chitwa Dam, you get rewarded at some point. It's not a place where you can just drive and things happen straight away. You've got to come and you've just got to spend a little time and kind of take it all in, and then generally you get rewarded for your patience at some point. You can see a few impalas are actually also starting to think about coming down, so they're still quite in the distance. We'll wait for them to come down properly. There's a few Egyptian geese that are around, and a very, very, very big yawn. And down. It's hard work chewing roots, apparently, tiring stuff while going. So Bex, did that make you yawn? I wonder how many other people yawned with that hippo. So if the hippo made you yawn, #Safari Live, let us know if you caught the yawns from the hippo. It's amazing how you can catch yawns. Oh, nice skiing effort. That was a good landing. How many points do you give that one, Seb?
10 out of 10.
Ooh, that one wasn't as good. 12 out of 10, Bex, is now Rebecca, actually, funny enough, I forgot about this. Rebecca, do you want some lessons from the Egyptian geese? Because I believe you went wakeboarding in Johannesburg a few leaves ago, and apparently there was a few times where things didn't go according to plan, and that you, instead of ending up on the board, you ended up being dragged across the water with no board and face first. Is that true, Rebecca? So apparently it was David. We'll have to ask Brent, because David's on the vehicle with Brent, and so David will need your opinion as to whether it was you or Rebecca, because Rebecca says she was the pro and she didn't fall at all. Rebecca, didn't one of your friends have a serious face plant straight off the sort of board? I think it was one of your friends that did. Yes, there we go. So there was one of the friends that it was kind of like a cable that runs around, and you grab on, and the cable kind of takes you around the dam. And Rebecca's friend, she showed me a video where Rebecca's friend jumped off the kind of platform where you start and literally didn't go even 1 centimetre. The board just dug in and went face first into the water and did kind of a belly flop straight off the board, which was not very elegant at all. But anyway, I'm sorry for whoever that is. I'm sorry, Rebecca, that I've just made your friend feel maybe quite silly. At least we haven't given her a name. Anyway, while we kind of sit here and think about this, Brent has reached his waterhole, and so we can get David's expert opinion as to who was more pro, Rebecca or David.
Well, there's lots of stuff going on that I don't seem to know about. But all quickly. Hello. Hello, big boy. Yes, you're very scary. I mean, he's been sitting there quietly this whole time. Now he suddenly decides he's going to give us a show. Just the lone hippo so far at Buffalo's Hook Waterhole. Oh, you don't want to go wakeboarding anywhere in the Sabi Sands. That's for sure. So, David, who's the better wakeboarder, you or Rebecca?
Rebecca's much better.
Rebecca is much better. And you know what I've decided, David? Oh, wait, let's just watch this hippo. He might give us another little bit of a show. No, we're going to pop his head down. Just give him one last second. There, he's leaving you behind. There we go. Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. Not many birds at Buffalo's Hook Dam, unfortunately, but we do have the lovely hippo. And let's just see what he does. He might come out with a splash, or he might just go poof, or neither. Those beady eyes.